drew them there. They followed the tail of the star. Because remember, it was brighter than the moon. Now, you know as well as I do that if you're out horseback riding on a moonlit night, it's almost like the sun's out. Right? You can see the ground. You can see where you're going. Unless you're completely inebriated, and then you can't see anything. Right? But anyway, so if you're out in the middle of the night, in the middle of the dark, especially in Ramona, see, we know this. People down in the city, they don't know. They don't know. Do you know why they don't know? Too much light. Okay? The city lights come up, they can't even see the star. You come up to Ramona, and I used to live over here on Keys and Hanson, and my kids and I used to sleep during the summer out on a 13-foot trampoline. We'd start out like all separated, and by the morning we'd all go right down to the center because we'd all roll together, you know what I mean? But we would sit out at night, and we would look at the stars, and the vastness of them are immense. I mean, from up here with no light, we turn all the lights off in the house, and the only time it would bug us is on Friday nights when the high school was on. Then you couldn't see as many lights. You wouldn't think that much white light would stop the white light from heaven. You know what I mean? But it does. But those nights we would sit out there and just look at the vastness of that. And on a full moon, you could see almost all the way to the high school. Because it illuminated so dark. So could you imagine two stars, planets, I keep wanting to go back to stars because they always call it a star. Two planets aligning with the same reflection off of the earth, the sun, and the moon that hit those two stars and would illuminate this beam that fell over Bethlehem. Wow. Now, remember, they were following this star for months. Okay, they were separate in the sky. And then all of a sudden they came together and they began to follow it. And then as it took its turn to come back around, it looked like for a time, for probably a couple days, the guy, he said he didn't know exactly how long, but it was at least a couple days where this star stopped in the sky. But it's because it was on its backward turn. Okay, so it didn't actually stop, but it looked like it stopped. And right over Jerusalem, and they went there. You know what day that star stopped?
September sometime.
That's when Jesus was born. December 25th.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? That was the day that at its peak of when it stopped, before it started back.
Wow.
It was December 25th, and Bethlehem was illuminated.
Wow.
That's where we get December 25th. Okay? That's where we get it. That's where the early church said, well, if that's the day, well, then let's just use that day. And it comes right at the end of the winter solstice. The winter solstice goes from the 17th of December to the 24th of December. The pagans are out there worshiping and doing their, hoopty dances out there and doing what they do. And then on the 25th, when all that pagan worship is over, the church said, you know what? We need to do something to redeem that day, to redeem that time for Jesus. Now it says in the Bible that when the wise men got there, they found Jesus in a house. Not in a manger. Not with 1,000 people around him. Not with all the fanfare of his birth that we hear in the Bible. The shepherds, the people, the little drummer boy. I don't even know if that's real. I don't see it in the Word, but I think somebody made it up, but it's a cool story. You see, no wise men, no nothing at the birth. Or on the 20, when they got there on the 25th, 27th, 28th. And then all of a sudden they're there. And he was in a house. Some people say he was probably 6 months old by the time the wise men got there. I mean, I'm not a scholar, so, I'm kind of smart, but I'm not a scholar. And this is in my research this week, this is what it told me. But then everybody says, well, because you hear, well, Jesus was born on the 25th of December. No, he wasn't. Jesus was not born. And I can prove it. It says that there were shepherds in the fields abiding during that time. Abiding. Now, if you know anything about Israel and sheep and how they raised their sheep and how they herd their sheep, during December in Israel, it's well below 30 degrees.